This is the ultimate tutorial you'll have to watch about Replit. At the end of this video, you will know how to replicate 100 million a year SaaS business in a few minutes using Replit. I'll show you everything step by step from ideation and prompting to a functioning app with authentication, database, and integration like Stripe and GitHub. And to be totally honest, as a software developer myself, I feel a bit scared of how good Replit is already today, because, it might take my job in the next few years.
They took our jobs! Yeah, they're down, took our jobs!
Hey, it's Ben again, and now let's dive in. The first step we want to follow is find a good idea. And I want to do something really simple. I want to copy a low-tech 100 million business. And in this case, what I will copy is a stock advisory business called Fool.com. This exists for like 20 years, and they are doing more than 100 million a year. Over the years, they're adding. The product is really simple. It's simply a platform on the internet where you have stock advisory analysis. So you just pay, you enter your email address, you receive newsletters and stuff like this, and you have just like analysis of stock and portfolio that you can just copy paste, right? So this is the kind of thing we want to do. It's pretty easy to do, but you have still to manage all of this authentication, paywall, Stripe connection, all of this. So that's why we go for that, and we're gonna build that pretty fast. Let's continue. So the first thing you want to do is actually preparing, because what you don't want to do is be this guy. This guy is the guy that use his laptop and say, okay, I please make me a 1 million monthly recurring revenue SaaS without endetches and make no mistakes. Please do that. Well, that'd be big to ask the AI at the beginning. So what we want to do is really to focus before on our idea and what exactly is the minimum viable product we want to build. So this is in a classical professional way environment. This is a product manager. This is the role of a product manager. But here, remember, you are the product manager, you are the software developer, you are everything. And the goal is to do that very fast. In order to do that very fast, what we want to do is prepare. So the 4 things about prompting and preparing is, first, don't go straight to the prompting, as I just said, and make something very simple. And we're going to add complexity step by step. First, the first prompt, we're going to ask AI to do something very simple and add the complexity step by step. Why is that? Simply just because, well, I understood with experience that the bigger the prompt is, the more difficult the AI will do, and each little things here and there, the entire app will be completely biggie. So it will look like it's working, but it's not. Then create a new chat for each new feature. So it's the same thing. It's just that when you give too much context to Replit, well, it just like thrown away stuff and do things like with a lot of bugs. So you want to create a new chat each time. And in general, don't accept the recommendations. So Replit will propose you, well, recommendations. What you want to do is like really think about your product and not accept them. It's also because they are doing that also because they want you to pay with like their API keys, right? So I worked in order to prepare what I want to do. And what I want to do is Food.com, right? And Food.com, like what's the architecture of Food.com is a homepage that sells stock picks and login authentication, a paywall. So like in order to access the subscription and the stock portfolio, I have to pay. If like I'm not paying, I go to a paywall and I have to pay. And if I paid, it's okay. I go to the member page and I can see like all the stocks, the selection, and like this is stored in a database. And yeah, we're good. That's basically their whole product that is doing 100 million a year. So it's not that difficult tech-wise, and you can build that really fast with Replit. So that's what we're gonna do. How I did that? Mainly, I used ChatGPT, and I just asked ChatGPT, okay, this is the thing that I know. So I want a Replit app that has a homepage selling my stock picks, as performing the market, has a login notification. If the log user doesn't have a Stripe subscription, then we go to paywall. Exactly. I'm just like trying to describe to ChatGPT the flow. I asked ChatGPT to do a flowchart. So what you see here is actually a flowchart. ChatGPT did it for me, and then I asked ChatGPT to like make me a prompt. And what I do is simply I copy paste it this prompt into Replit directly here. So I started the first thing and I did like this, right? And the only thing I changed in this prompt is actually all the minimal things. So ChatGPT here proposed, okay, do like index.html, login.html, minimum stuff like add.py. You don't want to give like technical recommendation to Replit because Replit is abstracting all the technical things for you. The goal of Replit is exactly that. So what you want to do is give to Replit like the instruction as you would give it to a developer. As a product manager, you're the boss of the developer, right? So this is what we're gonna do, and this is what I did. I'll show you the result. Why I'm not doing it in front of you, simply because like it takes 20 minutes. So I don't want like to wait 20 minutes in front of you and showing you like the logs. This is I don't think it's interesting. I went to stock portfolio. So this is what I'm doing. I go to host story and I'll check the first chat that I did, which is up here. This is the first prompt that I made. Up. And we can see build me a simple full stack web app that I did that. So here, what happens in general is that you'll see preview. So here's the preview, and you'll be able like to see everything that the agent is doing. So I include the following features: homepage, registration, logging system, etc., etc. It happens that like on this prompt, I didn't follow as much as I should have my own advice, because I asked the AI to do like Stripe integration, logging, sign up, homepage, and everything at the same time, right? And actually, I think it was a mistake, just because like after I had to do a lot of debugging. About debugging, let's check how it worked. So basically, like it worked for a few minutes, then came back with like, okay, I worked 6 minutes and then came back with the agent usage, which is like how much credit this prompt actually used. And that's also why we got to be careful, because it's pretty expensive. In one project, I already like burned my whole subscription for the month. So, yep, we're here. We have the chat, and here you can like publish. I don't think like at this time I publish, just because I mean it's not useful yet. What I want to do is here I tested at this moment. I tested in the preview section there. Okay, like is the thing as actually how I wanted, and actually it wasn't exactly what I wanted, because the team here was like a different team than this one, and it looked like shit. So what I did here is I went to team and I changed basically the colors, and I changed everything for it to look correct, which is the case in my opinion here. You can change the colors, but you can also change the fonts and like do a lot of like interesting stuff, a bit like a Webflow or a CMS, classical CMS would do. But the difference here is that you can build actually complex software. So here, this is how it looks like. Then you can publish the theme to like the theme to the library, but this is not really what you want to do. What you want to do is just simply change the color there and do as you go. Then I just told Replit that like subscription doesn't work correctly, and I want you to use this CSV in the database. And then here I introduced two big notions. The first one is Stripe, and the second one is database. But like I'm not sure this is what we want to go for now. Yes, this is what we're going to do for. So manage auth, database, and Stripe. So here, I'll go back here like so. Okay, so now we're good for like the overall publishing of the first version, which is just building the landing page, right? But now what we want to do is actually like do complex stuff, make the authentication system, the account system, connect to the database, connect to the Stripe and everything. And this is where like we start to focus on complex features that we wouldn't be able to do in the past with web services, or it would have. So what we want to do here would be, okay, manage both database and Stripe, right? So here On Replit, you can just open new tabs, a bit like on the Chrome browser, and you can see all the things that you can monitor. And there is plenty of things, and we're gonna check all that out. First, authentication system. So here, I ask directly on the chat, on this chat, at the beginning of this chat, I did a new feature, so I opened a new chat, and I ask on this chat, let me go up, add Replit Auth to my app. This is just because I opened here, I went to Auth, and in order to add Auth, you don't have to click on any buttons, you just have to speak English. So you speak English to the model, and he's gonna build your authentication. And sometimes, it's still buggy, right? Because what happened is that here I said, no, I don't want login Replit. I want login normally to my app as an email address. Because what it did, is that it added Replit authentication system, a bit like connect with Google. It was like connect with Replit, but this is not what I want. I just want to be able to connect with an email, right? And this is what I did. So I just told him, hey guys, please change that so I'm able to connect with an email address. And it took quite some time. You can see here. That's why I'm doing the video like this. 26 minutes in order to build that. So a lot of actions, create the database, a lot of things that you have to do. And for $4, so quite pricey still, because it's only the beginning, right? Then I tested the app and I saw a few problems. So when I click on get started, I go to /API/login and I see 4404, stuff like this. And here, I just give him the little things he has to debug. I test, I give him the little thing he has to debug. The cool thing also is that you will be able to see when the model is actually testing. And the model is actually testing by itself. It doesn't work perfectly, but still it's pretty good. So basically here I just ask for debug. Okay, please debug that, please debug that. I could not do that, etc., etc. And you have different mode for debugging. And here, for example, let's do something here where I want to edit something particular here. For example, instead of expert analysis, what I want to do is maybe shad analysis, which is shad analysis. This isn't the copywriting you want to have, but still. And I save, and in the preview, I see that there's a problem here. So let's go back to edit, and here do shad analysis. You can see we have some problem, right, to edit. So you have an edit mode. It doesn't work correctly all the time, but what you can do is actually prompt the system in order for it to actually work. And you see here, as it didn't work correctly, it asked the model to change it for me, which will be quite costly compared to just me editing like this. But it's probably working in some way. Sometimes it doesn't work. To be honest, everything isn't perfect yet, but you still have to do a lot of debugging. And you can with this mode actually try to either build, plan, or edit. It's a bit like in cursor. And what I will propose you in general is just to you to build and edit, just because plan is quite costly. And if you just want to brainstorm and to think about the architecture, think about, okay, what are the things I have to test, this and that, I would propose you to just use ChatGPT because it's pretty expensive, right? On top of that, what you want to do here, for example, let's check it out a bit, the SEO. So if I go there, I go to publishing. I already published my app, which is pretty good. But if I go there, well, it's published. It's good. That's work. But in terms of SEO, this isn't perfect. We have the title, we have some meta description, which is basically the way Google see your website. But this isn't perfect yet. So what I will do after, if I want to make this a real business, is actually check this checklist that you'll be able to get in the description and see if all the SEO are met and SEO technical are met. And well, you can just use the checklist. There's a page, and here you can say, okay, identify the primary keywords in order to do keyword research and to know how you want actually to show your website. Make pages search engine friendly, so you have to optimize title tags. For example, here, the title tags aren't perfect, right? It's elite stocks picks outperform the market. okay, outperform the market is a good keyword. Probably I want to do like, I don't know, something more higher focused or something like, it depends on the business you're in. It depends on what you want to do. But in order like to actually have organic traffic then from Google when I post my site, well, this is what I want to do, right? So yeah, if you're interested, you can just check the description and get this ultimate SEO checklist for free. It's a lot of time that I put on that. So if you want it, like just check the description, right? Let's go back to our Replit and see how it worked with the change of the text, right? So let's go back here. Yes, it actually did change the text with the typo in the text. So we're good to go, right? So you have some like ideas on how to build, iterate, and plan, which honestly, as said, like I don't advise to use the plan feature, but still you can do. And now what we want to do is actually like trying to check the Stripe and the database. What happened with Stripe is that like I asked inside the Stripe, inside the chat, well, make me a Stripe integration, right? So let's do it now. Make me a new Stripe integration with a new account. So change the keys. So why I'm asking that? Just to show you how it will work with Stripe. So basically, what I want to do is use Stripe as an integration. I'll go back to home like this, and I want to use Stripe because I want people to pay for on my website, right? And you can see here in the integration, well, Stripe isn't like directly in the connectors because Stripe is, you can use Stripe with code. So you don't need actually to make a connection to Stripe. But what I asked here is basically, please use Stripe with the new API keys. And look, what it does is like, oh, I want the Stripe secret key and the vid Stripe public. What does it is? What it is just the keys that you have on Stripe. When you go to /API/keys like this, you'll have some keys. And the keys that you'll have here, I'll not show you to you guys because I don't want to lose my keys, right? But the keys that you have here, you have to add them here. And what happened is, so you have two keys. You have the secret key. So let's go to keys. Let's go again. I'll take the risk to show you my keys, guys. I'm doing this for the video, so like like and subscribe. So here in keys, here this is just in French keys. You'll be able to see two API keys, which are first one, the secret key that you don't have to share with anyone. This is very dangerous. It's just a way for us to actually use your Stripe, for Replit and the code to actually use your Stripe, and the public key, which is just like your Stripe ID basically, and with your Stripe or username, the way Stripe represents yourself. And when you will add that here, well, this will use this data in order to implement Stripe directly in your web app. So how it would look like? It will look like something like this, right? So I'm going to go to create an account. Let's do. I'm going to use whatever password I want. So let's try with ABCDEF. ABCDEF. Let's go. I'm going to create an account. What should happen is, yes, this. So here, what do I see? I see like, oh, guys, pay me, please, because this is like the business we're in, right? Oh, okay. What do I have? I have portfolio access. So you see a pretty good paywall there. What you want to do is go to subscribe now. And I had a bunch of problems here. But I just like, how did I debug this? It's pretty easy. Basically, I just went to the console and I checked all the problems here. So when there is a problem in general with connection with servers like Stripe and stuff like this, well, you go there to the console and you see all the problems there. And what you can do is actually do something like this and add the agent. So here you click or you copy paste here, right? This isn't what I will do because as shown there, it works. I have Stripe in front of me, but I had a bunch of problems and it took me like some minutes in order to like debug the whole thing. But you have the strategy in order to debug. You go to console and you check all of that. Or you can also go to logs. Well, actually the console is the logs. But yeah, you can like do it like this, and it will work perfectly well. If that's good for you guys, let's continue. Let's do the whole setup, right? So here I'm gonna pay with this is Stripe, like the test version of Stripe. So you guys can take this card and put it elsewhere. It won't work, but still you can do it. Here I'm gonna go to subscribe. Payment successful. It's activating my subscription. Subscription active. Let's go. I'm happy. There was a little bug here. It went at some point to a 404, but now I can see my stock and the thing I paid for, which is the stock position and the stock portfolio, right? And I could do from here a lot of things, but I could, like, if I click on this line, show me the NVIDIA stock and the full NVIDIA analysis. This is basically what is full.com. This is basically what it is. But, well, we've built it in like a few minutes, right? So from now, we can verify here. I have a new account. So let's configure. How is the account here? Let's go to database. So I created a database. So users. And here I have my user here, Ben at starknet.id. This is the user I just created in front of you guys. And I have a Stripe subscription ID. And I have a customer ID on Stripe. And the subscription status you see here is active. How did I build my database? It's exactly the same thing. I just asked what I wanted to Replit, and like he built the database, right? It's pretty easy. And sometimes you want to maybe check a bit the database and see if it makes sense. In my position here, when I say check the database, again, you just go to open and you search for database. In my position here, we see we are on users, which is like the table user in your database. And I don't only have users in my database. I also have like some strange thing here, test.com, example.com. I'm like, okay, I didn't create these users. Who did? Well, that's Replit that did. They did like an end-to-end testing flow themselves alone. Why do it the agent? This is also why it takes like 25 minutes in order to build, because the system will not only actually build the app, it will also test it. So as it will test it, well, you have some test data in your database, right? And you can, if you want, like, okay, this test data, I don't want it. I don't want it also here. And I'm going to delete these records here. Yep. So we're good to go. We have like only, we still have one test data. Oh, we're good to go. We deleted, and we have only my test accounts. So we see Ben, Benjamin. This is all me, guys. And then, like, I have new database. What is this database? This is stock position. Let's check this out. So stock position is the table you saw just before. And how did I like basically do this? Is like you have two ways to do this actually. You can either like click on plus here, create a table, create a view, create engines. This is all a bit complicated and stuff that is around like being a developer and actually trying to manage your database. But you can create a table here and actually name it, which is like pretty hard to do and long to do, honestly. What I did is I simply asked again my friend ChatGPT and I asked him, okay, make a stock portfolio, AI stock portfolio for me with like the thing you find relevant. He made the CSV for me, and then I just uploaded it here in my database, right? Which in general, it's not exactly what you want to do to like store a bunch of data like this that aren't dynamic, but still, like, it's just a way for you to show how I populated my database. And what I did is here, I just send a little message, use this CSV to populate the database with a new table following the schema of this CSV. So what is the schema? The schema is like, okay, ID, stock name, ticker. This is all the properties I want to show on my frontend and I want to have in my database. So basically what I mean by the schema of the CSV is just the name of the columns. On /dashboard, I want three cards summarizing the portfolio, total value, capitalization, biggest winner, and a table showing all the stocks. Thanks. And like it did it directly and it worked perfectly directly. Then what you want to do with your database is basically you can also use SQL. And again, you don't want to work, you don't want to learn SQL. What you want to do is just check, okay, based on my data, is it possible to actually? No, it's not possible for the moment. But what you want to do, you don't want actually to use SQL, which is a pretty complicated thing when you don't know. But what you want to do is back to tables. Is probably you can. This is invented data, for example. By the way, this is just a data that Replit invented. Just because I asked him to make a dashboard and he didn't have the data, so he invented portfolio data. But what we're using is stock position, the data I gave him after. But what we can do here, for example, is refresh row, refresh schema, export to JSON, and here we have the JSON. And if we want to find data, we can either this is my DB data, make an SQL comment to find what's the stock on which I make the most money. And here it's gonna give me the SQL and I will be able to use it directly on my database. Hop. So let's see how it works. Okay, stocks doesn't exist. So what's the name of the table? It's stock position. Yes. Stock positions. Well, is it stock without S? Okay, this was supposed to work. Okay, now this works. And you can see here with ChatGPT and Replit, I'm able to create a database, navigate the database with SQL. This just works, guys. This is really, really incredible, to be honest, because this, as a software developer, could have taken maybe not weeks, but a few days without AI. Now, it's really, really fast, and this is really, really cool because it permits everyone to actually build it. Now, we're gonna check all the other things we can do with Replit here, and the first thing what we want to do is actually publish, right? And you have a publishing section where you can just publish. So I'll do it in front of you. And what it's doing here is that it's just preparing the project in order to be published. Sometimes the code doesn't work quite correctly. It's called the build. And you have to debug it before publishing it, and you will see here. But that's okay for us because I already published it and I verified that it works. But this is how it works. And you see here my last publish was 3 hours ago. Here we're good to go. You can see, okay, there's everything, to be honest. This is really, really cool. You can see the logs of the publish. Well, this is just if you want to debug, but probably you don't want. And you can see the analytics. You can see who's connected, how did it work, and this is all just me. And that's really cool, to be honest. You can see everything around the analytics. Where do people come from? So now you guys know where I'm doing this video. So yeah, that's really, really cool. On top of that, you can check all the resources it uses. It's a real developer dashboard. Then the domain, what you want to do is either manually connect from another register or domain. So you'll have to do something like freelance AI here, and then say, okay, next add the following records to your DNS settings, and you're gonna go to your DNS. In my case, is Portbun, and what you want to do is go to DNS, for example, freakoven.com. And check all of that. Just in that case, what they're doing is a hostname and record. So you want to do something like a hostname is arrobas and the record, and then add. I don't want to publish it yet, but you have the ID, and you can also inside Replit bug a new domain and check, for example, stock portfolio. Well, that doesn't work. That stockportfolio.com works. well, we don't know if it's actually a typo of our name, so portfolio, but still, well, you can do it here and confirm the purchase. You already have your card if you're using Replit. So yeah, that's really, really, really good, in my opinion. Then resource usage, you have like a bunch of things you want to do. And the last thing, actually, what you want to do, and the last thing is publish. You want to actually publish. We just finished the publishing. So if we go to overview 3 minutes ago, we can see it's published. And now what you want to do is like writing the test cases. What actually do I need to test in order to make sure my app is working? Well, what you want to test is first, in the case of my app, first that if I have an account and I'm not subscribed, well, then I go to a paywall. And if I don't have an account, well, I just sign in and I can subscribe, right? And if I have an account and I'm subscribed, well, I can actually go to the dashboard page, which we tested right before. So let's A, B, C, D, E, F. Let's go. I'm going to use the same password, the same thing. And here, well, we go back. It works, guys. It's really cool. Now I'm going to log out. And hey, we see a bug. So good example of how to debug. So we see here 400 page not found. Did you forget to add the page to the router? First, well, the page not found isn't good enough in terms of like we don't see what's happening. And second, well, the logout should work, right? So how to debug? Here, I'm going to check the logs and I'm going to check how did it work. So here, it's called here, you can see it's called logout. And well, that's cool, but it didn't work. So that's a bit problematic here. So let's actually do it like so and open a new chat saying, oh, copy paste here. In the logs of my build, I have the following. When I click on logout, what happened was that I went to /APY/logout, right? I want to just log out and go back to home. Moreover, I want you to change the 404 page with a title in white and not in black. Okay, so that's like two-thing prompt. He should be able to do it correctly. Now let's check this out. So he's working. What he's doing is basically he's gonna check, shield the logs. The cool thing is that he has the raw context. So he's able to check everything without you giving him the full context. But here what I did is, yes, I checked the logs. I understood, okay, basically I get API logout, but probably it's just a front-end problem where instead of actually going back to the dashboard, they send me to the API/logout instead of just calling. But that's okay. While he's working, we can explore the rest of Replit. And what we want to do here is check a bit everything that could work for us. So we saw publishing, we saw all the Replit native integration. So there's a bunch of integration you can check. So you have like authentication. We did domains. And the object storage, the app storage is like something where you're able to have directly like storage of images, storage of data directly in your web app. And what you want to do is actually use that probably for images or for scripts or for stuff like this, right? So what you can is like do it with you guys. So stock all images, right? Let's create a bucket. What it does in the background is that it's gonna go like in AWS, so Amazon, and create this storage session just for you. And it might take some time, right? But it's gonna work. I hope it does, at least, because I'm doing this tutorial in front of you guys. I'm back after a few minutes and I'll show you what I did to actually make this bucket thing works and then the GitHub integration. So basically what I did is that I asked the AI to create a bucket with Replit storage yourself and add this image to it. This image here, that is the thumbnail of this video. And here, what it actually did it and then tested it. And then what I have in terms of preview is that it stored the image in a bucket and it like shows it here. What you can also do with the app storage is like store image at scale. So you have enormous amount of images. You can store them here, and it will be faster for your application to actually charge them. But on top of that, if you want like user to upload images, this is also the right feature to use. Now, the last step, what we want to do is like we published our apps. Now we want to push it to GitHub, just to be able to make it to keep it in something we own, right? So here you have a Git version, and Git is basically the way people manage projects, like the developers manage projects, and it works in trees. So each time we finish a task, we push what we call a commit to a tree. And this commit is just a bunch of things we did, and then we push all of that to this tree. And the tree we're going to use is called main. It's the main tree. We're going to use only that. And how we're going to do that is basically we're going to, well, go to tools, type Git. And here, if you didn't connect your GitHub, you will see connect GitHub. Me, I already did. And what happened here is that you have an application here that is configured as having the access to your repositories. And here it has like the repository for this project is Replit test. So freecodecademy, which is me, / Replit test. So what I'm gonna do is actually go there and recreate in front of you guys this Replit test. So Replit test. Perfect. I'm gonna create the repository, and then it's gonna work, right? So then what we want to do is to actually push all of these changes to the repository that is Replit test. And here you see just now we just pushed the changes. The repository here was empty. So this is just like empty repository. And now we have all of it here. So what do you guys have here is basically all the code. The code is simply the app we just built. We have a bunch of codes, and we can see, so we have the client, the server, the whatever. This is not things you have to manage because we're using Replit for that. But with GitHub, you can actually make little changes yourself in the code, and you have like your version of the code that is always on GitHub and that you keep on GitHub. So this is how it works. Now, the last thing I want to show you guys is basically the home of Replit. So here you'll be able to like manage all the apps you did. So this was the test I did yesterday in order to prepare for this tutorial, and this is the actual image, the actual app we did together today. And we see that like the last version it wasn't pushed yet, so it wasn't published, sorry, yet. But here it is. Now, what I want to show you is usage, because usage is pretty, I would say, greedy in terms of dollars. So, in order to do all of the testing I did today, I spent $25, which is the amount of the subscription, plus $11. And if we go to my app, which is here, we see that all the little mistakes or the things that aren't really perfect like cost me dollars. Here, for example, I launched a prompt without actually thinking too much about it, and then I reread it, and I was like, no, that's not a good prompt. I want to stop it, right? And here, if we just go here, this 50 seconds of work cost me 30 cents. That's okay, 30 cents. But still, little by little, like it's becoming bigger and bigger in terms of billing. Here, 5 minutes, well, $1.45. And all the time, well, you actually do something, you build pretty aggressively. Of course, that's to me normal because they're using the best models and it actually works really well. But just like to make you a kind of reminder, here, like look at your usage and be mindful that the usage can go up very quickly. Now, the last thing we want to talk about today is, okay, we have our SaaS. Now, how do we actually market it, right? How do we actually make users go to our application, make users come to our application, right? So we're gonna go back to vibe marketing. We just vibe coded an app. Maybe now we want to actually vibe market it. And that's exactly why I built Relance.ai. Basically, Relance.ai permits you to get organic clients on autopilot. And if you build a Replit app and you actually want to market it, that's perfect for you, because the goal for us is basically to you give us your website and we're gonna send a bunch of AI agents in your website so you are found in both Google and ChatGPT. Basically, we're gonna build articles, blog articles for you, and we're gonna push it automatically to your GitHub, and you'll be able to rank with that on Google and on ChatGPT. It's gonna take some time, but still. So if you want to check it out, don't hesitate. You can try it for free. And if you don't, that's completely okay. That's the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked it. And yeah, see you next time.